Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
And welcome to the Kulturecast. I'm Chris Stachiw.
And I'm Sean Liang.
And it's the final movie of Kaiju Movie Month, Sean.
Sending it off with a bang.
Oh, send it off with something.
Definitely.
So today we're going to be talking about Godzilla 1998. One of the most critically abhorred and I would say fan base aboard films of the Godzilla series. So much so that he's not even referred to as Godzilla by fans of the Godzilla franchise. He's only known as Zilla.
I'm actually impressed to hear that. I really don't know what people want anymore, especially Godzilla fans.
Well, they want what they've always had. They don't want anything different.
That makes sense.
That's the answer. So before we talk Godzilla 1998, Sean, have you been watching anything this week?
Oh, man. I don't think I've watched it. You know what? Yes. I told you about Elevator. I've been watching Elevator. That's it. Man, I've not been watching much.
Still just Elevator.
Yeah, it's a great show, though. I can't wait to be on, season 3. I want to win $50K.
Are you going to be on season 3?
I'm willing it to happen. I am putting it in the universe, and I'm also emailing casting. So
you're doing everything you can.
Yeah, I'm going to try to make that happen because Lord knows I would love to do that show. It'd be so much fun. I mean, have you seen it?
I have not.
Oh, it's so much fun. Because my friends and I do the escape rooms out here all the time, and I would love to do that. It would be so much fun and maybe win $50,000. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to do an escape room. We just haven't ever gotten a group together to go do one. So
yeah, that's the hard part.
Yeah, and it's not particularly cheap either.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Yeah, it has to be an event, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
What about you?
Nothing really. Just been watching this deliciousness known as Godzilla 1998.
It's a slice of 1990.
It is a slice of 1998. Yeah, it is something else, isn't it? So let's talk about Godzilla 1998, shall we? I think we should just get right to it.
Sounds
this
good.
is, like you said, this is a really good way to end the month.
Yeah, I think so.
Film was released in 1998. Directed by Roland Emmerich, written by Dean Devlin, Roland Emmerich. There are also 4 more writing credits, but they really don't have any play when it comes to what the final product is. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get into the nitty-gritty of the movie. The film stars Matthew Broderick, Jean Reno, Maria Patillo, Hank Azaria, and a fellow Simpsons castmate, Harry Shearer. The IMDb synopsis is: a giant reptilian monster surfaces, leaving destruction in its wake. To stop the monster and its babies, an earthworm scientist, his reporter ex-girlfriend, and other unlikely heroes team up to save their city.
Bipedal carnivores, most of which became extinct by the end of the Triassic period. During During the Jurassic period and Cretaceous period, the dinosaurs evolved into various adaptive types, many of which reached colossal size. Tyrannosaurus rex, about 70 million years ago. Its long skull was equipped with powerful jaws in which were set sharp, doubly serrated teeth. Weighing more than 4 metric tons and averaging 19 feet in height, this creature was believed to be one of the largest predators who ever lived on our planet.
Sean, I know you'd never seen this before.
Never.
I watched the shit out of this movie as a kid.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on the film?
My thoughts is like, it definitely, it feels like Jurassic Park, you know what I mean? Like, but it's a lot cheaper. You know what I mean? Like, we got with a monster, you know? I thought I liked it. I thought it was fun. Like, it's what I imagine. It's exactly what I imagine an American remake of what Godzilla would look like. You know what I mean? And the thing is I'm also comparing this heavily to the 2014 Godzilla, since we just watched that. And it's just a breath of fresh air compared to that movie. So, I mean, it's campy and it's so cheesy sometimes. Like, Matthew Broderick kills me. I mean, thank God he opens with a little bit of show tune singing, because it's just that kind of like lighthearted cheese, like that I kind of like about it, though. I like that I don't know. Godzilla is an interesting character in this movie. I can understand why it stands out for sure in the canon of Godzilla movies. And I guess I totally can see why people would feel strongly about it. But overall, I really kind of liked this movie. I liked it. It was not incredibly mind-blowing, but it was entertaining, and I watched it. You know what I mean?
You know, like I said, for me, this movie, I feel like this movie and Independence Day are like a perfect double bill. Obviously, Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich were involved in both films.
That totally makes sense.
But this is really a Godzilla film through the lens of Independence Day. I mean, essentially replace the aliens from Independence Day with Godzilla, and you have this movie.
There are even scenes that are built very similar to...
Yeah, and you've got kind of the same casting a little bit. There's also some things in this movie that, if you don't know kind of the backstory involving Independence Day and the writing of this movie, they'll kind of go over your head. Specifically, the mayor and his aide, who I don't know if you caught it or not, but the mayor's name is Mayor Ebert, and his aide is Gene. And this is due to the fact that I believe Roland Emmerich had a big problem with the way that Independence Day was received by Siskel and Ebert. And so he decided to make them characters in this movie and totally inept idiots that are completely unlikable.
That makes me love this a little bit more. I love how spiteful that is. That's hysterical.
Right?
Like, come on.
And, like I said, it was because of the way they kind of reacted to Independence Day and also Stargate, but obviously Independence Day kind of compounded their hatred for Ebert.
That's so funny.
Yeah, Siskel and Ebert.
Because the mayor character is particularly unlikable and just a terrible person. I love it.
Yeah. But, like I said, I really like this movie. I know that this movie is bad. I make absolutely no excuses for this movie's quality. But like we've always said on the Kulturecast, and will continue to say until the end of days, just because a movie is bad doesn't mean you can't like it.
Right? You can have fun with this movie. Come on. I had a lot more fun with this movie than the bad movie that we watched for Monday.
Oh, and that movie is... Godzilla 2014 is absolute garbage. It is a boring, just everything about... everything that I have a problem with in regards to the way movies and IPs are approached now manifested itself in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
And this movie is kind of a lighter take on Godzilla. It's a very comedic film. It's a very funny film.
Yeah.
Which I think probably upset a lot of people because most Godzilla films, at least the original and definitely the new one, are lacking in humor.
Yeah.
They're practically devoid of it, especially in 1954 Godzilla, where it was, an allegory for the nuclear bomb. And, there's no way to make light of that, really. But like you said, I mean, in this movie, you have Jean Reno doing an Elvis impersonation. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah.
This movie is all over the place. But again, that to me is one of the charm of this movie.
Absolutely. It's part of why it makes it memorable.
And yes, at the end of the movie, it kind of goes all Jurassic Park. Yes, the effects for this movie don't hold up at all.
No, not at all.
No.
If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror. We'll cover all the subgenres. So join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
The CGI Godzilla is...
like watching a cartoon stroll through New York.
Yeah. I mean, it is particularly bad.
Yeah. It's
particularly bad in a way that I think anyone who would sit down and watch this movie now, it might put a strain on their ability to enjoy this movie.
Yeah, it's hard. It's almost hard to get past, but
because it's like on the cusp of like where we're getting in like 2001, where we have a film like Spider-Man, which, as far as I'm concerned, set a pretty high bar for, CGI.
Yeah.
And this film is 3 years before that film. So the amount of time that they've come in those 3 years is really far.
Oh, absolutely. I remember movies getting fast. It was fast. Like there was a time period of like quick development.
Right. And, this film had a budget of $130 million. It made almost $400 million. There's a lot going on in this movie that, like I said, it's very much a product of the times, and the CGI really reflects that.
Yeah. One of my, probably the staple moment of when it came to Godzilla was when I think it's the first time they come eye to eye with, he comes eye to eye with Matthew Broderick, and it's this it's the moment when Alan Grant sees the dinosaurs from the Jeep, and it's that grand moment. It's what it feels like. They kind of create that almost beautiful nature moment with Godzilla, and it's so funny. I literally sat up and laughed so hard. But it's it's one of the reasons why I loved it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, I do. And like I said, this movie is really, it tries to ape a lot of things that do that better.
Yeah.
I mean, Jurassic Park is a much better film than this film. But this movie tries to do a lot of those things as its own thing, and it's not particularly successful. I mean, I think the reason I enjoy this movie so much is because of Matthew Broderick.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
Yeah. And mind you, I mean, this was supposed to be the first in a series of films.
That's what it feels like, too.
And especially with the ending.
Yeah.
But, I kind of want to take it back a little bit, and let's talk about how this movie came into being, because how this movie came into being is a little bit more of an interesting story than, honestly, what happens in the movie.
That's always fun.
So Henry Saperstein, who had produced and distributed Godzilla films in the United States, asked Toho if they could pitch a Godzilla film to Hollywood studios that would be an American-made Godzilla film. And he had pressured them for 10 years to get the right to do that. And so he went to a bunch of places, and finally Peter Guber of Sony Pictures, the then chairman and CEO of Sony Pictures, said, okay, let's get this set up at TriStar. This is an international brand. Let's do this. And this happened in 92.
Wow.
Right. So this is 6 years before the film even came out. They had everything set up and ready to go to make this a trilogy. This was going to be a trilogy of films. Everybody was on board. Toho sent over 72 pages of requirements of how to approach and handle the Godzilla character in the way that they wanted, which is, obviously, like we said last week, the way Godzilla is handled is very much a product of their culture. That is a cultural icon for the Japanese people.
Wow, yeah.
The original pitch by Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio, who do have writing credits on the film still, was Godzilla was an artificial creation constructed by the Atlanteans to defend humanity against a shape-shifting extraterrestrial monster called the Griffin.
What?
Right, yeah. And so that film was scheduled to be directed by Jan de Bont, who had directed Speed, Twister, which he would have directed before Godzilla if Godzilla had met the window that it was shooting for, because it was shooting for a summer 1996 window.
Oh.
So Twister is what Jan de Bont directed instead of the Godzilla film.
Wow.
Because they did not approve his budget of $100 to $120 million, which is hilarious if you think about it, obviously, because the film ended up having a budget of $130 million.
I was going to say, that sounds typical.
Yeah. And so before Independence Day even came out, Emmerich and Devlin came to the film and they said, look, we want to do it, but we're going to do it our way. We're not going to have the slow moving Godzilla. We need a fast, sleek Godzilla who can run, as opposed to the Godzilla who just kind of stumbles around and, looks traditionally Godzilla.
Yeah.
And if you go online and look, there are designs for Stan Winston's Godzilla that he designed, which is a huge bummer because obviously being a huge fan of Stan Winston.
I think I saw it too. Hold on.
Right. I mean, it just looks like Godzilla.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here it is.
It looks like Godzilla with like a crocodile.
Yeah, exactly. It's much more recognizable as a Godzilla, though.
As opposed to Zilla, which is what this Godzilla is called. So they came in and they rewrote the film in 5.5 weeks. They got rid of the Atlantean origins in favor of the traditional radioactive origin. They brought in a new creature designer, Patrick Tatopoulos, who the character of Nick Tatopoulos is named for in the film. And that's where the design of Godzilla came from, where it's more of an iguana that runs and jumps around as opposed to kind of an upright crocodile, the Stan Winston design. Yeah. And so that's where this film comes from. I mean, this film is essentially a film that had been, in some form of production for 6 years prior to it coming out. It went through 2 directors and 2 design studios and 4 writers to come to the big screen. And it kind of shows because the film is really all over the place.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's not a good movie. It's not, but it's a fun movie.
Right. It really,
but the backstory of the movie really makes you understand why the movie is the way it is.
Absolutely. It's like meeting the parents. You know what I mean? You get it.
It's not. It's a bad movie because so many people involved in the process of making this movie, I feel like, had no idea what was going on. So, I mentioned that 72 pages, right? There were a lot of like requirements for Godzilla. Godzilla can't die was one.
So it's like it's a manual for Godzilla.
Yeah, it is how Godzilla is to be treated from the people who own the rights to Godzilla.
Yeah, wow.
Devlin and Emmerich did not adhere to any of those.
They broke all of them rules.
Godzilla, one of the things was Godzilla couldn't die. Godzilla dies at the end.
Bam.
Right? Godzilla could not eat people. He could only eat fish. Baby Godzillas eat people in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
He could not be made to look silly. I would say that he looks insanely silly.
Especially when you see a million little ones running around.
Right. And Patrick Tatopoulos has made some good designs, but this is not one of them.
Yeah, this one's a little. You can see it exact. I mean, it's exactly. It's like so typical. Like,
I know what they're going for.
Yeah.
They're going for a iguana, right?
Absolutely, that's what it looks like a Gilliam. It's like the scales on that. I mean, it looks like it from the head. Like it. That's definitely
right. I mean, that's the whole thing in the movie is that the French irradiated using nuclear bombs. They ended up irradiating an iguana nest,
right?
And that's where this Godzilla comes from. So this Godzilla is a giant iguana.
Right, we know directly where it comes from.
Right, and it looks so goofy.
Yeah, the close up because the head threw me off the most. I kind of liked, like, I'll be honest, I kind of liked the claws and everything, but like, especially when you see like what they look like, the babies. Oh my god, they're like, oh
well,
Jesus.
and that's a whole nother. Jesus.
I couldn't believe that happened. I was shocked that they went there.
The heads of the Godzilla notwithstanding, the fact that the end of this movie essentially becomes the last 30 minutes of Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Not the best way to approach this movie because it really just feels like a ripoff of a better movie.
Right. It kind of misses its own point.
Yeah, because you have Matthew Broderick, Hank Azaria in one of Hank Azaria's few major film roles.
Yeah.
Jean Reno and Maria Patillo running around the Madison Square Garden kind of ruins to blow up the nest of Godzilla laying eggs, and the baby Godzillas are chasing them. And I mean, it's so, the whole last hour of the movie is so all over the place.
Yeah,
they're running from baby Godzillas in Madison Square Garden, and they're driving around in cars, from Godzilla in the taxi. I mean, the movie is all over the place.
Yeah, there's one of my favorite scenes. It's so ridiculous. Is when it's when the taxi is like in the mouth of Godzilla. And
Matthew Broderick grabs a wire and jams it into Godzilla's teeth.
Yeah, and then, oh my god, it's just that whole, it's amazing. Like, where do you come? And they like drove out of its mouth.
Yeah, it's a super silly movie. It is insanely silly. And then at the end of the movie, Godzilla dies.
Yeah.
Which was a huge no. I think is still a huge no-no because how would they have made a sequel?
Absolutely. We know how they would. They talk, but like that's still, it just feels so wrong. It's like blasphemous. I mean, even like, because even seeing it go down, like you never want to see it. I don't know. I was really upset that that's how it ended. I never got the sense that Godzilla was a vindictive creature, and that's, obviously in the new Godzilla film, they completely remove any of that. Right.
But I never got the sense in this movie that Godzilla was like actively trying to destroy humanity until his babies were destroyed.
Right, when they make it a point to make that the reason why, But yeah, you're right. There is even like that. Like I said, they have that moment where he doesn't eat Matthew Broderick. He keeps walking. You know what I mean? Like there's that. It's like there's that clear distinction. And that's the thing. Like when they kill it off at the end, it just seals the deal that this is just like every other movie it's trying to be. It's like this is just another Jurassic Park movie essentially, except for they don't even kill the dinosaur in Jurassic Park.
Right, because Jurassic Park has a little bit more tact to
it. Right, a little more respect. How about it?
Unlike this film, which I respect and understand Emmerich and Devlin being like, this is our movie, we're gonna do it our way.
Absolutely, but this just feels wrong. It doesn't feel right.
The problem with that is you are approaching that the wrong way when it is an IP that is so kind of revered in its home country.
Yeah, and especially one that, like you said, it's birthed out of the culture.
Yeah. I don't think Emmerich and Devlin's hearts were in the right place with this movie. I think they wanted to just make a big explosion CGI fest, and it ended up being that, but there's so little about the movie that is Godzilla that it might as well not even be a Godzilla film.
Totally. I mean, this is when DVDs started coming out, so it just feels like it's a big blockbuster on purpose. I mean, the same things are happening now, but I mean, it's kind of like you see them trying to take advantage of all these new opportunities, and it ends up ruining what you had in the first place.
And Toho has distanced themselves from this Godzilla film so far as to going to trademark this creature as Zilla.
Wow, they did?
Yeah, they trademarked Zilla for any TriStar Godzilla. Anything that had to do with it, it's Zilla.
That is impressive. I did not know that. That's funny.
Yeah. And then in Godzilla Final Wars, Godzilla kills Zilla.
That's funny.
murders him.
Wait, I want to watch that.
And that's, you know, that's like a huge point of pride for the Japanese culture and the fans of Godzilla that, you know, Zilla is killed by Godzilla.
That's so great.
And, you know, kind of looking back on it, Dean Devlin has kind of apologized for the film.
Wow. Sorry for stealing your culture.
You know, he's gone on to say that the big thing that they couldn't decide whether or not Godzilla was a good guy or a bad guy.
Right.
And like I said, I think that that's like the biggest problem with this movie is that it seems like they have no idea what they're doing with the Godzilla character.
Exactly.
And secondly, like the characters in this movie aren't particularly exciting or captivating. Nothing that they do in this movie is particularly exciting.
Yeah, no, they just have a few moments where they're kind of funny. Like they'll say something that's cute.
But you know, if we're looking at this movie kind of in the grand scheme of things with other kind of 90s monster movies, Jurassic Park, Independence Day, I don't think this movie really is that bad. I don't think this movie is really that bad. I do know that it's bad, but I don't think it's like one of the worst movies ever made.
Right. I would agree.
Because I've seen worse.
Yeah.
Way worse. Especially from like the 90s.
That's true. That's very true.
And it's always really like talked about in negative tones by the Kaiju movie fans. And I completely get that. I understand if you're a fan of Kaiju movies and you don't like this movie.
Absolutely.
But this movie isn't made for those people. I mean, this movie to me is like Godzilla 2014. It's not really made for people that like Godzilla.
No way. But it's done way better than the one in 2014. That's the thing. You're right. I agree. They're the same kind of movie.
But I mean, ultimately, when you look at both films, I think this film is more successful at being an entertaining movie.
Yeah.
It's not quality of movie standpoint. Is the quality of this movie higher than that movie? No. Right. I mean, obviously, this movie's not going to hold up. This movie doesn't even hold up, you know.
To some of the good 90s movies, but...
Yeah. This movie doesn't even hold up less than 20 years later.
Right. But when you're talking about story and what keeps me captivated, I'm much more interested in watching this one than I am in the newer one.
Right, and that's what really sets them apart. This is an actually entertaining movie from the character side of the film.
Right. One of the things like they do that I thought was impressive, and that this even goes to the special effects. Like this is one thing, but the way they imagined the atomic breath was pretty cool, and the way that they reimagined the way we saw it was really cool. Like you see it kind of like when it's chasing the taxi. I thought that was a really clever and impressive way to show the fire breath. You know, you see like the flames appear out of thin air. I don't know. I liked that.
I mean, you know, like we've been saying, there were a lot of reworking to the Godzilla character in this movie, and that's one of them. Totally,
but I can see like this movie was made for an audience in America who knows that Godzilla exists, but has no idea or totally uneducated about the origin or what it means, and it gave the audience something that they wanted to watch. You know what I mean? Based on all these other movies that were successful, like Jurassic Park, Independence Day, all of those things, like that they kind of they basically ripped moments out of, you know, like it's all like these, like this was made for like a big movie release, you know what I mean? And that's what it was from the beginning.
Yeah, no, this is a summer blockbuster. This film came out in May of 1998.
Totally.
Yeah. And again, you know, it's not made for the Japanese audience, and I completely understand why the Japanese audience had no fucking interest in this movie,
right?
And hated this.
Right, movie. I can understand even the anger. You know what I mean? I get.
Yeah, because you know, it kind of perpetuates everything that a lot of cultures think about America, which is big dumb Americans making big dumb movies off of our nuanced films.
Right.
And then they've got all the fucking all the tie-ins with Taco Bell.
Oh, so much product placement.
And all the toys. They ended up having a cartoon that ran for 2 seasons based off of the Godzilla film.
Stop, they didn't.
Yeah, Godzilla, the series.
Wow.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't, and I didn't know that it came from this.
Godzilla the series, yeah. But I just remember that trailer, and the trailer with Godzilla's foot crushing the T-Rex at the museum that came out a year before the film came out. And I also remember kind of the big deal about how the advertisers couldn't show Godzilla in full until the movie.
That's right. I remember those commercials. Like the big foot would just like smash.
Right, because they wanted to make sure that it was the big reveal in the film.
Wow.
Which kind of like, really got the crowd excited and was like, oh shit, this is like some really good marketing. And I give them credit. That is a genius marketing.
Hey, yeah, absolutely. That's why that moment was so big then. That makes sense.
But unfortunately, it backfired.
Yeah, they're like, oh, that's what we're waiting for.
Right? Because the design of Godzilla is so awful. The Jay Leno lizard with its giant chin. I mean,
that's it. It's the Jay Leno lizard.
But, like I said, this movie for me really is like Independence Day.
It's totally
it doesn't have the charm of Independence Day, not as much charm, but it has charm in its own way.
I totally agree. It definitely is a staple of the 90s, and that's fun. And I think that like it definitely, like you said, like I remember those commercials. It was they really made a big deal about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And, I don't know if you got a chance to read it or not, but there's a treatment out there for the sequel.
Really? Like to this movie? What? And it wasn't.
It involves essentially the Godzilla baby.
Yes, of course.
The Godzilla baby is
revenge.
No. So the Godzilla baby becomes like protector of humans.
Oh, they tame it. Oh, I see.
Yes.
It's just like in Jurassic World.
Yeah. And like Nick Tatopoulos becomes like the Godzilla baby protector.
Oh my god.
But like that would have been an interesting story. Maybe.
I mean, I would watch it. I would watch it, especially after seeing this movie.
Right, as long as Jean Reno comes back.
Yes, I need some.
Right. And again, like I said, this movie isn't great. There's a lot of problems with it. It's too bad they never made a sequel because this is another one of those movies that has like that not open ending, but
it's definitely leads. It's
there's a sequel. They were setting up a sequel.
They set it up so much so that there's no question. You know what I mean? Like it's absolutely. And to be honest, now that I'm thinking about it, the campiness of this movie, I really wish I could see that sequel, but in the 90s.
Right. I wish there would have been a sequel made to this movie.
Yeah.
Which I can't believe I'm saying, but I wish there had been a sequel to this movie. And it's unfortunate there wasn't. But, for as much money as this movie made, it's kind of surprising it didn't.
I mean, if the same movie were made today, it would be.
Yeah. Yep. No, you're completely right. And the casting in this movie is so strange on top of everything else.
It really is.
Having Harry Shearer and Hank Azaria, who are both major voice actors for The Simpsons in the same movie, live action. That's weird, right?
Absolutely.
I don't really.
Matthew Broderick's even a little bit weird.
Yeah, I don't consider Matthew Broderick to be like a leading man.
Absolutely, especially. I mean, I also kind of got to know him after this movie. But even looking back, because from Ferris Bueller, it just doesn't. I don't know. It's weird. I just don't see him like this. So it was kind of strange, but I liked it.
Yeah, I always just think of him as Ferris Bueller.
That totally, yeah.
Yeah. I always just think of him as like, this is like Ferris Bueller meets Godzilla, the movie.
That's hysterical. See, I think of him as like, from the producers, I think of him as like a Broadway baby. So like when he was singing show tunes in the car, I was like, yes.
It always cracks me up because Hank Azaria is Hank Azaria, Harry Shearer, Matthew Broderick, like all of them together in this movie.
Right? Like that, you'll never see that again.
No, it's a little strange. And I love that. I love the accent that Hank Azaria is doing. This like this like weird like New York accent that is not good.
It's like very contrived.
Yeah, you're right. It's completely contrived New York accent. Hey, oh, hey. Like, oh God, dude, there's so much more to that.
Right, the whole thing, like they all kind of were like that. Even like the girls too, they're all campy like New Yorkers,
Yeah, Arabella Field, who's just like, what are you doing, Annabelle? Yeah. Why are you doing that?
What?
Like, oh yeah, for fuck's sake. this movie, like I said, Independence Day, this movie has all those same things that Independence Day does, where it's like the black guy who talks in kind of jive ebonics, and the nerd who says nerdy shit. Like, so this one, it's like the New Yorkers who say New Yorker shit, and then the nerd who still says nerdy shit. And then all the military dudes all speaking military lingo.
Yeah, the foreign guy who is kind of bad, but it's going to save the day.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
It's so
His fucking
funny.
Elvis impersonation is just too much. I can't handle it.
I did love that moment. That was a great scene. I was just in shock that we saw 1,000 baby Godzillas.
That whole scene at the end with the baby Godzillas is... it feels like it's out of a different movie.
It totally does.
Yeah. Which is too bad, because I feel like they could have done something actually interesting with that, and they just went like the Velociraptor route.
Yep, Velociraptors.
Yeah. Well, skip it or watch it, and best performance.
This is definitely a watch it for me. I'm glad I watched this one, especially because like I didn't realize how big it was and how big of an impact it was, even if it wasn't such a great one. It's a fun movie. It's definitely entertaining, and I'll take that any day over the top, grandiose, and boring. Best performance, I just love Matthew Broderick in this, and I didn't think I would. So I'll pull the obvious card today, and I'll say Matthew Broderick.
I'm going to say watch it, just because I would say it's important to see kind of what the Godzilla film that everybody hates looks like versus the one that like everybody seems to love looks like, because everybody really loves the Godzilla 2014 film.
Wow.
And I think it's important to see this film as like the one that everybody hates, which I don't agree with, but that's a different story.
Yeah, I mean, I would say with that it's good to know where the original, where Godzilla comes from before watching this.
Yeah. And for best performance, Jean Reno. I mean, I really like Jean Reno.
Yeah, he was going to be my second. He's great.
Yeah. He's hilarious in this movie. It's just so great. And, the whole bit with like drinking the coffee and everything, like, oh, it's so wacky. Yeah. It's just such a wacky movie.
I know.
Stereotype is a stereotype. Like, right? There you go. Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin, really have no
shame.
They're not subtle. They're not subtle,
right?
At all. So, what do you think it has on Rotten Tomatoes?
Honestly, I probably don't know, but I'm going to go with my opposite reaction, which I would think would be pretty high, and I'm going to guess low and say like 38%. No, 38%.
16%.
68?
16.
Oh, okay. I was going to say
16%.
16. Okay, that's
pretty rough.
That is rough. It doesn't deserve it, I think.
I don't think it's a terrible movie. I definitely don't think it's a 16%.
No way.
But it's not a good movie.
It's not, right. But I can't accept that people liked watching the 2014 Godzilla more than this. Come on, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Hey, you know what? They love the 2014 one, so...
Oh, God.
There you go.
I guess that's why we're seeing movies like Batman vs. Superman now.
Yep.
So sad.
This movie. This whole Kaiju Movie Month, looking at the way America approaches a Kaiju movies is pretty humorous, because they make Kaiju movies that are either completely unlikable or are just goofy as hell.
Yeah. Compared
to like the actual like Japanese films.
Yeah, there's definitely
There's a huge disconnect between the two of them.
Totally.
Yeah. So. Well, Sean, anything you want to plug before I talk about what we're going to be watching next month, which I am super excited about?
No, just that this weekend, if you're in town, I have shows at 7 o'clock, Saturday and Sunday. We're doing a One Act Festival at the Complex in Hollywood. So come check it out if you're available. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm Seanifer, and on Facebook, I'm Sean Liang.
You can follow me on Twitter at Kulturestash. And if you like what you're hearing now, head on over to cultureshocked.com/Kulturecast to check out 100 plus episodes of the Kulturecast, where we talk about all kinds of genres of movies. Big thanks, as always, to Evoca for providing the intro-outro music for the Kulturecast. That song that you are hearing is Lament off of their self-titled first album. You can check them out over at wavoka.bandcamp.com. Patreon.com/culture_shock is where you can go to kick a couple dollars our way. It's not free or cheap to keep the Kulturecast and Kultureshock.com running, so every little bit helps. Next month, we're going to be revisiting Horror-tober for the third year in a row. Woo! It's going to be all horror movies all month long, moving past kaiju movies, which I'm done with. I think I'm done.
I know. I've had my fill.
I have officially had my fill of kaiju movies, so I'm ready to move on to something that's a little bit more in my wheelhouse. To kick off Horror-tober next Monday, we are going to be talking about Jack Brooks' Monster Slayer, and then next Thursday, we're going to be talking about Brian Yuzna's body horror classic, Society. So make sure to check those out.